Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please, first of all, let me know if you can hear me because I have a terrible habit of forgetting to unmute my microphone. My name's Jason, and once again, joining me on my left, your right, it's the one and only Jeff Pacito. Jeffrey, how are you
Hello,
tonight, my
hello.
friend?
I'm doing very well, Jason. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm great. I've
Awesome.
been really looking forward to tonight's live stream for a few days. Last week was a lot of fun. Everybody seemed to
Yes.
enjoy what we did, so I put a ton of work into tonight, getting a lot of content ready. And of course, we're also going to be doing a couple things before we get into that. We're going to be talking about some rules updates in just a few minutes. But before that, Jeff, I think we have a little bit of old business that we need to take care of first,
You
don't
have
we?
some old business. Yes, we do. And for that, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I know I just started, but I'm going to have to jump off camera for a minute
Hmm.
because whoever was here about 2 weeks ago probably wants to see this giant wheel. Let me see.
Yeah, that's
Am I
right.
on the right part of it? I'm in a good spot. You guys can see.
You need to move it to like we need to see a bit more of the right side of the wheel. A little farther, little farther. There you go. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Right there.
Yeah,
All
right there's
right.
great.
Excellent. So 2 weeks ago, we didn't run a wheel, and someone was gracious. One of our viewers last week was gracious enough to remind us of that. So we're going to run the wheel today, giving away. Are we still doing 2 packs, Jason? 2 packs of Invasion?
You're the boss, man. Whatever you want to do.
Yes.
I just work here.
We're doing 2 packs of Invasion. If we land on John Rayner, we will throw in a pack of an old set. I won't
Oh, I
spoil
like
what
that.
old set it is, but Jason will pick from the archives, whatever he's able to reach his hands on.
Oh, and
Don't
I've got
anyone
some
get too
nice old
excited.
stuff. So
It's like Jalara type stuff. It's not we're not going alpha beta stuff. We don't have that unfortunately, but from
no,
Jalara
but we can.
forward probably. So
Yeah,
you have some older
Jalara,
stuff.
Rays, all that stuff. So yep.
Yeah, Jalara rays. Yeah, I just didn't want people to get on the alpha train hoping that there's an alpha pack in there somewhere. That's uh
Oh
that's
no,
gone as far as I know.
though. As far as I know, I don't know if I'll ever see Alpha again. So yeah.
Let's shuffle this up and get this drawn so that we can start because tonight's going to be a busy night and
Hey
everyone needs
Jeff,
to get to bed before midnight. I think at some. Yeah,
before we draw those names, Jeff, do you remember? I don't know,
yeah.
it might have been 2 months ago or whatever. There was a live stream quite a while ago where your mic kept cutting out all the time. Do you remember that?
Oh, don't tell me it's doing it again.
Yeah, it is. So I just wanted to mention that up front in case you might remember whatever you did to fix it last time. Because it's just
Hmm.
random. I'll hear you for like 25 seconds and then you'll cut out for a couple. So
You know, I'm gonna unplug my mic and plug it back in.
sure.
I don't know if that's gonna fix it or not.
It's always a good
Let's
try,
see.
right? Just like shutting your phone off and turning it back on. A lot of
That's
times
usually
things
the
like that
best
fix it.
option. Let me know if it still keeps cutting out, and people in the audience, let me know if it's cutting out as well,
Yeah, yeah.
because sometimes we have two different feeds coming through. It should be one and the same what Jason and you guys are hearing, but just in case.
I think you're going to
Um,
have a big wheel of names later on tonight too, because I
I
see
think
that
so.
it's fluttering between 14 and 15 people in the chat. So
And
we're
we've
off
only
to a
just
great
started,
start,
and
nice and early.
the surprise has. Whoops, no, there's no surprise today. Sorry, did I let something slide? Let's spin
Ooh,
this wheel now, Jason.
yeah,
Forget
spin the
everything I
wheel,
just
spin
said.
the
Ready?
wheel. Yep,
Go.
yep. All right. So again, this is for everybody who was watching 2 weeks ago. Um, those are the names that were automatically entered. And wow, it looks like we are going to hit John. Maybe who? Wait, I can't see who won.
Nope. It's Alana.
Oh, it's Atlanta. Wow, like just by the tiniest sliver.
Yeah, such a small margin
Wow.
there. It's we're talking microns.
That was close. Wow. All
It's
right. So congrats to Alana slash Ryan. I'm sure one of those two will enjoy that. The mother and
oh
son
yes.
who tune in together and watch. So
Yep.
congratulations. You get some more pricing coming next time you stop in. They're local, so they can stop in and pick it up in person up at my store. And so far you haven't cut out again. So let's keep our fingers crossed,
Excellent.
Jeff. So far so good.
Fingers
So
crossed. I'm
that's
going to start the new wheel of names now. So just to let you know, I'm not
yeah.
ignoring everyone. I'm just starting to
Sure.
type up to
Well,
play
you got a
catch up
lot of
here with the
names to
names.
type in there.
Yeah,
Lots of people here tonight. I'm just going to try and, while you type, I'm going to try and say hi to everybody real quick just to buy you a little time. Hello and
sure.
good evening to Damien, John Rayner, Cardboard Flesh and Blood, Janice. Obviously, you and I are here, Jeff. Then we've also
Yes.
got Shahan is in the chat. Never see that guy. Good to see him out in the chat tonight. About time. Badson, I don't think anybody said hello to you tonight, so welcome to the chat. Sammy Boy, whose name will not get entered because he's a direct relative of mine. Madtown Hobby, great to see Madtown Hobby out again as well. Airboy Zeal and Jeremy Harris. Wow, their names popping up just while I'm scrolling down. Well, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. We are going to have a really good night. We got some interesting stuff to discuss in regards to some rules updates, and
Mhm.
we're going to be watching another deck tech. because I love to share my bad gameplay habits with other people. So we're going to check out a deck for a deck that I built around one of the new invasion champions. And then I even got to put that deck through the grinder and play a game with it against somebody else. So we're going to get to see another gameplay video with all the cool effects and graphics and explanation stuff on the screen to try and make the combat and the gameplay as easy as possible for someone new who's just visiting for the first time to watch along and really get a gist of what goes on in the game of Genesis. Did I
So
stall long
before
enough for you, Jeff, to get your name
you did,
started?
I got everything in, and I got a chance. I've got a chance now to answer Badson's question there about U.S. shipping update. So Southern Hobby has the product. They are caught in the. My understanding is they are caught in the Christmas rush of deliveries, and my understanding from a few game stores down there is that everything is delayed to them from everywhere. So it's not just a Southern Hobby thing. It's any of their suppliers, any of their distributors are kind of at the mercy of the U.S. postal system, even if that's FedEx or UPS or anything else they're using. That's what I've gotten from a few people. Madtown Hobby may be able to speak a bit more about it. He is U.S. based and probably has a good handle on that. I know Cardboard Cohorts was talking about it, and someone else was talking about how this time of year it's not great to get product out. It's at the distributor. If you live in Nashville, maybe you can don't go knock on their door. Don't listen to what I'm saying. You can't get anything from them directly. We'll have to go through the channels, but I think your local game store can call and at least make sure there's tracking numbers and they got product heading towards them, because it is in the Southern Hobby warehouses.
Well, more likely it's probably already out of the warehouses, I would imagine. I'd imagine
I believe
because
so.
they got it over a week ago. I'm sure it's somewhere out in a UPS or FedEx truck.
Yeah.
Matt Houghton Hobby makes a comment that's valid, not releasing into the Black Friday shipping next year. The thing is, our normal window for set releases doesn't fall this late in the year, but because we took over the game late in the year, we really just wanted to try our best to get product for a new set into everybody's hands before Christmas. That was the goal, and hope. So we worked really hard to try and get it out. Obviously, the United States is a bit of a different situation than Canada, because in Canada, there was no real delays. It got to every store except the one out on the West Coast, I believe,
Yes.
by release day. And the product entered the States the same time it entered Canada, but with the American Thanksgiving holiday and then I guess all the courier delays and whatnot, it's been quite the ordeal. So that's a unique situation with the United States alone. But moving forward, our normal release window isn't this late in the year anyways. Our fall set should be coming out every year, hopefully October-ish, so well before.
That's the target. Yes.
Yeah, so it won't be a problem next year. So yeah.
You should be able to play it at your Thanksgiving get-togethers. That's our goal for the fall set release.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, if it does get, even if it's late in the States, as long as it gets into people's hands before Christmas and they can enjoy the product over the holidays, I would still call that a pretty good win, I feel, because that was the goal. Is we just wanted to do our best we could to get it into people's hands in time. So yeah.
Please do let us know in the regular socials and chats once you do start getting stuff. Show us some of those pack pulls and things like that. We're really eager to see that stuff start getting opened up south of the border as well. We've seen a little bit up here. We want to see a little bit more. We'd like to see people's reactions to what they're getting.
So Jeff, I guess the next thing that we're going to want to talk about is we're going to want to talk about these rules changes. But here's the concern I have, Jeff.
Okay, sure.
The concern is I'm an okay Genesis player, but I'll tend to miss a trigger here and there. I'll make a mistake. And you've said many times that the only kind of game of Genesis you can win is Pack Wars. So I feel like you and I, on our own, we might not be qualified enough to properly talk about the rules tonight. And if only there was some magical way to get some really cool guy with like a nice goatee and, he looks good in glasses, real charisma, dignified guy. If only there's a way to get somebody like that on camera to help us, the kind of guy that I wish I could look like. That's what I'm saying. A rules team expert who like, okay, I buttered him up enough. Let's just bring him on in here and see who we got. It's the rules team expert. I know that because that's what it says on my screen. Please unmute your mic if you haven't and go ahead and introduce yourself to the world, you gorgeous human being, you.
Hello. Hopefully people can hear me. I believe I unmuted my camera. So
yeah, you're good on my end,
right,
so I think you're good.
All right, so yeah, hello, I'm Shahan Salgado. I am, I guess, part of the Genesis Rules Committee, and I guess I'm one half of the Genesis head judges with the irreplaceable Yan Proudly as well. So.
And the Chrono Walkers. Don't forget your own.
Yeah, sure.
Your
I'm
own
one
plug.
half of the Chrono
Selfless plug, do
Walkers,
it.
which is the only Genesis focused TCG channel for some reason. I don't know what. No, I mean I'm sure there's other people who put out Genesis videos as well.
I think Imperial Pulse might have something to say to you about that matter.
Yeah,
Just...
we at one time we were the only. There, how's that? That's good.
That's fair. That's fair.
Or
Yeah.
the oldest. Ooh,
the oldest.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Chrono Walker from back in time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what can you talk to us about tonight? I know that we have some exciting changes coming up in the rules. I know the basic gist of it, and in my opinion, a little spoiler ahead of time, I think the players are going to like these changes because I think from a gameplay standard, I think it's just going to make things make more sense. I do know that every now and then any change people are going to be resistant to, but I think this is going to go over really well, and I can't wait to hear you explain it much better than I can.
Well, I'll do my best. Oh yeah, so there's going to be two changes to two mechanics in Genesis. One being flight and one being aerial. So I guess to jump right in, I know there's not some graphics you guys had. I don't know when exactly you want to put those in as well, but we'll just, I guess I'll just kind of explain and you do any adjustments you like, or we can look at them after.
Well, I was going to do graphics, but then when I saw how good looking you were today with that hat on, I was like, let's just throw the graphics out. I was really busy also editing other stuff for later tonight, but I'm going to compliment you instead of admitting that I just ran out of time.
Okay, no worries at all. So the first change, I guess, the more simple one is to flight. So previously, flight was this combatant can move into a spot even if it's occupied. What this meant was that whether it's like an alteration or another someone on the ground, like all our dogs and cats and all those, a flight summon could move into the same spot. But the odd little bit was flight summons could also just kind of stack up on each other because flight summons occupy their spot, but they could just kind of move onto each other as well. So you could have doesn't matter how big the summon is, you could have all these flight summons just kind of stacking themselves into one location.
Yeah, basically flight only said this one can go into a space that's already occupied, right?
Yes.
And then what that meant is if you had 8 creatures that all had flight, they could all share one space, which might not be ideal, right?
Yeah. And there was what's it called? I'll get into more. I mean, that one's kind of okay because you're kind of leaving yourself open to just getting an area of effect damage on yourself. So that's not as big as a problem. But what we'll be moving to, I guess, is that flight will now read, this combatant can move onto spots occupied by non-flight permanents. So what this means is now flight summons can't move into the same spots as each other, but flight summons can still move over other summons which are on the ground, so to speak. And with this change, we'll be doing a similar update to combatants without flight, combatants on the ground. So they, I see, what's it called? Jeff is pulling up one of our pictures from our article, which if it's not live now, it'll be going live, I guess.
It is live now.
Oh, it is live. Yeah, perfect.
Where would we find the article, Jeff?
Under the rules section on our website.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to disturb Shahan, though. I wanted everyone to hear his sultry tones explain it first, and then they can go read up on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll keep going, I guess. But we'll have a similar change for summons on the ground. Now, if your summon is on the ground, it can move onto spots occupied by permanents with flight. So your dog can run under the angel, so to speak. The reason for this was largely because flight was too close to basically a strict upgrade over grounded summons, right? It's not bad to have mechanics which are strictly better than other mechanics in a game. Like we do, there are always going to be some like that. I mean, there's a lethal with the lovely 3-chi spider in Phage, which if it deals damage, it just kills the summon as well, right? So we have those mechanics. But when it's something that's as useful and is used as often as flight, well, we've already seen kind of problematic, but maybe not problematic, but maybe frustrating play patterns with flight summons where one player who's only playing flight, which kind of lay out flight summons in like a defensive line, and someone's on the ground, well, they can't run under, so they can just kind of only stay at a spot. And then when the champion with the flying summons is ready, they can just fly directly over any defensive lines that have been set up by someone's on the ground, ignoring them, and just go straight for the opposing champion, just basically ignoring the tactical grid, which is like a big part of what we love about Genesis. So now both someone's on the ground and one's in the sky will basically be able to use that same effect on each other, which will basically result in both players need to be more wary of each other. Since if both players can do it, now you both have to be playing with it and not just ignoring one way, which the flight summoners would do.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
So let me just give you a hypothetical to see if this plays out the way that I think it will. Let's say I'm playing anybody and I happen to have a couple flyers in my deck, but I'm playing against, say, Kun, who flies and then has those dash moves and whatnot. In the past, it's been pretty frustrating that there's not really any way to block someone like Kun flying over and just beating down on your champion. But now, if I have any kind of angel, and there's that whole new cycle of angels, or any other creatures with flying, at least in my mind, it sounds like it would make more sense because now I could put a flyer of my own in the air, and Kun can't just magically fly through my guy anymore, which never really made sense to me. Like, if you're up in the air and you both have flying, shouldn't you be able to hit each other or block each other? Is that how that works now? Is that basically anything with flying can be a blocker for other flyers?
Yeah, absolutely. So any other flight summon you got is going to act as a blocker for Kun. So there's something you can do to deal with Kun's dashing around play pattern. And not only that, I mean, if you're on the ground and Kun's in the air, while Kun flies, to just move directly behind you and backstab you, you're going to be able to do the same thing to Kun, just running underneath him and then trying to backstab him. So both players are now going to have to be wary of the same thing instead of one player just having just complete kind of tactical control over that kind of interaction.
So how did this rules change come about? Who was it that first came up with the idea of tweaking it? Because I didn't hear about it right away. And I'm just curious. It's a smart idea.
I'm not sure where it came from. It's somewhere in the rules. I don't know if it was Will or Yan or myself. I mean, these kind of concepts and like frustrations, well, not frustrations, but like these little tension points, I guess, get discussed a lot in the rules team, and like what we can do. So I'm actually not sure like where the first change was promoted, so to speak.
And are you personally happy with where we landed on it at the end? Like, how do you feel about the end result?
I think so. Like as in the picture that Jeff put up, now it's gonna kind of feel like there's like the flying summons above and the grounded summons below, and there's not this weird awkwardness of where like, well, if you're flying, you can block everything that the ground wants to do, but the ground can't move past. And then like, yes, I feel it's going to add a lot more interesting tactical play now that there's options for the summons on the ground. And also, if you build an all flight deck, that implies now that you're not going to be able to block summons on the ground as well. So now there's a bigger reason to diversify your threats to make sure you have board control by having some of those grounded summons as well as the flight summons.
Nice.
I have a question for you, Shahan, and how would someone like me who only ever plays Kun because I can dash and fly over everything and I don't know how to play the game properly, how does this benefit me? How can I cheat my way into that again?
Well, you can still do that. It just now they can do it back to you. So
okay.
Maybe you have to have a couple more defensive techniques in your pool so that when they try to get you, I mean, there's some lovely ones in Bell, and I think Twister is one of them, where if someone comes to any spot adjacent to you, you can just do 1 damage and push them away. So there's some tools for you in your toolbox if you want to be there. But unfortunately, you can't just not think and just do the same move every turn.
Oh, okay. So
that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's a bit difficult. I'll find a way around it.
I will find a way to not.
I'll go through my 5 cheese and find a way around it.
No,
that's great. All kidding aside, that's really, really good. It's because it was a little bit overpowering, as Jason was saying, that could just fly through everywhere. So that is really
Yeah.
good.
Do we have a date in mind for when these changes will be taking effect?
They will both be going live on January 1st officially. Of course, feel free to talk amongst your friends if you want to just get a head start and play with them before the holidays. Like, we're not there in your home and in your LGS to be like, hey, what you doing?
Feel free to be an early adopter.
But yeah, feel free to be an early adopter, and hey, give us feedback on what you think. If anything that, like what you love, what you don't like, who knows.
That's something I'm really excited for, to hear feedback from players when they've tried this. I think it'll be really fun, especially as the community's been growing recently. We're getting a lot of new players. It'll be very interesting to see what some people who maybe don't have a long experience in playing the game with and are still just learning it. It'll be interesting to see what they think, because my gut tells me I think new players are going to find this makes a little more sense.
It's very intuitive, Jason. That's why. It's a very intuitive way for these to play through, I think.
Yeah, I think if a flyer is able to get in the way and stop another flyer from just going willy-nilly across the whole battlefield, that makes sense to me. So I think new players are probably going to like it and find that it's an easier concept. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Now, there was a second part.
Yeah, there is a second part. I was going to say there's a second change coming as well. And this one is to, I think, a mechanic that maybe a couple of players will groan when they hear about it, but I promise you'll be happy with what's coming. And that is aerial. So aerial is a very powerful defensive ability that previously read that the only attack abilities that can target this combatant, so the combatant with aerial, are range attack abilities. So what the change will be to is we're just going to add a sentence or a preamble to that sentence, which is, unless the targeted combatant has flight, the only attack abilities that can target this combatant are range attack abilities. So basically this means is that if a combatant has flight, it doesn't need to be falling into the specific range attack or casts or execute or other styles of abilities in order to interact with an aerial summon. Why are we doing this? Aerial is good. Like, really, really, really good. And unfortunately, when a mechanic gets really, really too good, we see things where entire sets need to be warped around it. I think we're all familiar with Origins and how there was a large and a positive catch by the designers of Origins, but they increased the number of cast and range abilities in that set in order for players to be able to interact with aerial, because it was looking to be pretty dominant. And then we saw in the championship, right? Like, there was, of course, great decks using a variety of summons, but the one that took first place was that amazing deck built by the German team, which used Angel Retribution, an aerial summon, and some protective abilities, so that if you managed to find a way to get past the fact it was aerial, then they were also going to protect it from your few abilities that were interacting there. So, between the two mechanics, like with flight and aerial, flight was basically previously strictly better. It's a dangerous phrase to use, I know, among TCG players, but flight was generally better than non-flight, and then aerial and flight was way, way, way better than just flight. And the problem is like, we make all these cool flying summons. There's an entire cycle in invasions of angels in every faction. We want you to have a chance to play with those and not just be like, oh, well, I mean, like, yeah, sure, they're all achieve less in deck building costs, but I mean, like, if I just one more chi to get aerial and Angel Retribution, that's so much value. So now any summon with flight is able to target any summon with aerial. So there's a whole wide range of tools going back right to the beginning of Genesis that players have available to now interact with the aerial space, just knocking it down a little bit. It's still a powerful defensive ability. It's still asking some questions from summons on the ground, but summons in the air, they're going to be able to fly right up there and bop those aerial summons.
And that really makes sense too, though. If you're flying and you theoretically could fly right up and touch this other flying creature, you shouldn't need range to hit it because you're not a great distance away anymore. So I think just from a practical standpoint, it makes more sense. So that's the way aerial should work.
for you, Shahan, or I guess for all of us from Airboy Zeal. He's assuming that the casts and areas still hit flyers when they have
Yeah,
those.
Yeah, I
because
think
again,
Sean
yeah, it's
said that.
only a constraint on attack abilities. That is like only attack. If you don't have flight, the only attack abilities are range attack abilities. So a cast, that's not an attack ability, so that's still fine. And yeah, area, it's not targeting at all, right? So if you're not
Yeah.
targeting, then you don't care about the targeting restrictions of aerial. So yeah, all the previous tools will still work. We're just adding in a little bit more so that there's more variety and people can use, maybe some of their favorite summons in other factions and not feel that they have to do the aerial thing, that they're trapped.
Yeah. No,
Well,
that's
that all
very
sounds
good.
great to me.
We have that article up now live. It's in the rules section. I dropped a link here, but if you go to the Genesis Battle of Champions website and go into rules, you will see a button for it right up front, right beside the rules and the errata. You'll see the flight and aerial determination article there that Shahan put together for us. So you can brush up on anything you may have missed from here, but it is pretty. Shahan did a great job explaining it. The article's really well written, so it's wonderful. These changes, which I think are going to be very, very well received.
And I can't let the article mention go away without mentioning that Yan proudly did all those great images for us. The visuals really doing a lot, because I mean Genesis is a tactical game, and having the picture of how the grid looks is very helpful for learning what these changes mean. So thanks, Yan.
And Damien's reminding me that links don't show up in the chat. I forgot about that. It's a little protection thing from YouTube, so you probably do not see that link. Go to the Genesis Battle of Champions website and follow through into the rules section. You can't miss it. Flight and aerial. It's one of the top buttons there.
Pretty easy to find from the homepage for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Shahan, anything else you want to talk about while we got you here?
Can't think of anything. I hope I'm not forgetting something. That was a segue.
No, it wasn't. But
I can bring up a little something.
Okay, I'll let you take over my question, and then I'll go afterwards.
Which kind of works into Shahan being here as well. Is the errata. So we've updated the errata with a couple small changes that we had to do from some of the printing. Very small. There's 4 new erratas on there. You'll see they're active immediately. Things like minor things like a chi value was misprinted, and a cost was missed on a card. Things like that. There's 4 of them. They're in the errata section. When you go to the rules, you'll see it there. It was just 4 added from Invasion, so that everyone knows what they're playing and how they're playing it. It affected Cobbled Amalgamate, Leg Sweep, Razorback Gorilla, and Reform Position. So this is something that the rules team knew, and people that played it knew because they asked the questions, but this way everyone playing at home or in an LGS can just pop onto the errata section and see that, as well as the original erratas that were there from before on whatever's changed.
Nice.
Now go ahead, Jason.
I wanted to put Shahan on the spot for a second.
All right.
Not in a bad way, but this is the first chance you've had to speak publicly through an official channel since the new team's taken over. And I'd encourage you to speak freely and honestly, and maybe just let anybody out there know how it feels working with the new team and what your experience has been like so far. Because I know a lot of viewers are always very curious about what things are like behind closed doors and whatnot. So, feel free to say anything you want. I'll mute Jeff's mic so you can't snap back at you.
Oh no, it's been a pleasure. We felt very welcomed, me and Yan, as part of the rules team, and yeah, just getting a chance to have a bit more of a voice with how things are changing, how things need to be fixed if they need to be fixed, and then honestly getting a chance to hey, I think this might be a problem down the line. What do you guys think? And then just have that suggestion and communication happening on a daily basis has been right. Previously, there was definitely some communications like that, but they kind of had to happen a bit more sparsely and further apart, which when something important as rules is not working, in that agile space, it's not able to operate as fast. It can feel a little frustrating. So no, lots of thank yous for, welcoming, the judges fully into a rules team for Genesis. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you involved. It's going really well.
A couple questions in the chat there, Jason. I can I can jump on quickly if you don't mind.
Please
Damien was
do.
asking about judge programs. We've said before that we're targeting probably late spring, early summer, because we're going to try and link it up with our official organized play and all that. That's our current plan. I think we're still sticking to that rough time frame. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but I think we're still late spring, early summer to get organized play off the ground, to get judge program off the ground, to get them rebuilt and working properly, and they'll be there hopefully just in time for Metamorphosis, which should be late spring, early summer release. Madtown was asking about future league playtesting. We're doing a different approach to our playtesting. We have a playtesting team designed specifically to work on the set. So there's a playtesting team working on Metamorphosis right now that has been handpicked to work specifically on Metamorphosis. It's not a free-for-all open. It's been designed to work with a smaller group. Ishmael thinks there's going to be a fire sale on Angels.
Angels are still very good. I mean, if you're selling, I guess I'm buying if it's a fire sale.
So, speaking of Metamorphosis, Shahan, you've got to see some of that without revealing anything. Does it look good?
Oh, I'm very excited.
Okay.
And I think anyone who loves to see like new ideas in like you see a single card and you're like, it opens up like an entire ray of potential of where the direction that a game can go, not just a set but a game. I think you'll be very excited for Metamorphosis.
Good. That was said very well too. You didn't let anything out, which is good. That's why I'm not allowed to talk about it, because I'll let things slide. So Jason pulls the noose whenever I start talking about Metamorphosis too much.
Oh, that noose goes both ways. I blab too much too sometimes, and Jeff kicks me under the table over the internet.
Yeah. Really, Janice has the control over us.
That's true.
She tells us
I
when
can
to be
tell you
quiet.
she's my boss. That's for sure.
She cuts the hard line. She has like a button just slam,
Right?
and it severs all internet.
Yep. If we go dark, you'll know why. Someone said something they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, that's right.
5-second delay for a wardrobe malfunction.
Well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed this segment. Shahan, what are the chances that we can get you to come on and talk live with people again in the future?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
One more thing while we still have you, Shahan, because I didn't think of this before, Jason. Does anyone in the chat have a question for Shahan?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've asked our questions. There's probably people in the chat, and maybe if we have some stuff to go through, Jason, maybe we can show like a video while people formulate questions, and they can always ask them when we come back.
I've got videos. Oh boy, do I have videos. Yeah, we got lots of content tonight that we can watch. I got before I even go to the first video of the night, I do have one more rules question. Well, actually, it's not really a rules question, but I have a question, I should say, for our rules expert, Shahan. And that is, what exciting, awesome things are you going to be doing on New Year's Eve? You got any cool plans yet?
Well, yeah, I don't know if people have heard, I only found out recently, but the ROM does a really cool, like, they open up the entire museum and, like, have, like, areas with things. So I'm going to be spending New Year's Eve in a museum. I don't know,
wow.
if that probably maybe it's not everyone's, cup of tea, but for me, I'm just like, whoa, like all the exhibits are open, and yeah, they'll have like plates of like hors d'oeuvres going around and stuff. So I'm super excited for that. I imagine other people like, what? But there you go.
Really
judges
cool.
and reels were weird ones, I guess.
That sounds really cool. But I would watch the very accurate documentary Night at the Museum or Night at the Museum 2 before you go, just to be safe.
Documentary.
I hear their documentaries. They're pretty accurate from my understanding.
Right.
Just to be safe.
Like, some armor padding and stuff. Yeah. Makes sense.
But that sounds incredibly awesome. I did not know that the ROM did that. For those of you not in Ontario, that's the Royal Ontario Museum. It's Toronto's big museum. That's our flagship museum in Ontario. So that's what that is. And that sounds really, really cool. I wonder if the art gallery does something like that. That'd probably be neat too if the AGO did that too.
Very cool. So Jeff, are you up for checking out a little bit of content now?
Well, we did have one question that we'll have to think about over that, and that was Will Kemp asked who Shahan's favorite designer is. So Shahan, think about that while we watch the video, and when you come back, you can have a well thought out response.
It's rude.
All right, so for my co-hosts here tonight, I'm going to remind you both that we have to mute our mics, otherwise all of our sound will come over this video. Then I'm going to hit play on the video, and we'll be back in, I want to say 5 minutes. I'm not sure how long this video will take, but we'll be back soon after this video. Spreading the Pox, a Harlequin tokens deck. Alright folks, today we're going to be doing a new timeline rewind featuring the champion, Harlequin. So when I decided to build a new Harlequin deck, I had one goal in mind: to make just a scary amount of tokens and creatures and flood the board with them and just spread this pox everywhere with a bunch of pox spreaders and any other tokens and creatures I could find. Let's start building our timeline by adding some creatures right off the hop. First up, I think we'll go with 5 pox spreaders. Keeping in mind, thanks to Harlequin, every time we cast one of these, we get a token of one for free. We can continue filling up the board at double speed by adding in some winged lattes, which each turn, at the beginning of a winged latte's turn, it creates a free Vaduta token that you can put adjacent to it. I thought that Beck and Break might be a good way for us to get a couple more free tokens into the game during play as well, so I put 2 of those into the timeline. Rounding out our creatures for this deck is some Angels of Death. With all these tokens everywhere, there's bound to be a creature dying each round, which will help the Angels hit for 6 damage. And lastly, I also added in a couple of Archons of Vengeance. I like these creatures. First time an ally is destroyed by an enemy, remove the exert tokens off of the Archon and place it where that ally was destroyed. So if I have a token die near my enemy champion, I can have the Archon of Vengeance jump into that spot, ready to go. Now that I've chosen all my creatures and lots of fun ways to get extra tokens onto the board, it's time to start figuring out what other fun cards would go great into a Harlequin deck. Siphon Vitality felt like a good starting point. I figure even if there's not one of my enemy's creatures near me, there's probably always going to be a token or 2 kicking around that I could drain for some extra health, and extra health is always a good thing. Speaking of extra health, the next 2 cards I'm going to talk about at the same time, because I feel like these 2 cards are a pairing that are just meant to be together. And of course I'm talking about Soulfire Strike and Pestilent Consumption. Imagine being in the middle of a game and you've summoned an entire army of small little tokens. And then the opportunity arises. You get close to your enemy's champion, and that's the time to strike with Soulfire Strike. Sacrifice as many of your tokens as you want, and for each one you sacrifice, you hit your enemy's champion for 1 damage each. Then, to add insult to injury, a little Pestilent Consumption after that, and you gain that much health as well. You can totally change a board state at swift speed. Now again, with so many creatures likely to die in the game, since I have so many tokens on the board, I wanted to add in some more cards that would take advantage of the fact that there's probably going to be 1 or 2 creatures dying every single round. So I wanted some creatures that had Resurrect Beckon to get some more powerful, cheaper beckons into the game. I also decided to add a couple more cards here that you'll see all take advantage of when a creature has died. The next card I decided to add was Pull of the Grave. I think this is a good card for this deck because it's going to be pretty easy for us to get some sort of token in close to where we want to do damage just to let it die, and that's fine because then Pull from the Grave can hit any spot adjacent to where a token dies for us. We can do some big damage without having to get in close with our champion. Repurpose seems like a great card for this deck. I'd gladly trade a token for an extra card draw at the end of my turn. I'm not 100% sure if Recomposition is right for this deck, but it's only 3 chi, and we're gaining lots of health all the time, so I thought I'd start with a few of these. And then finally, here are the last 2 cards that I decided to put in my first version of this deck list. This timeline might change over time, but I thought this would be a good fun start and a great way of spreading the pox all over the board. And if only I had a chance to test this out. And we're back. I think I unmuted my mic. Hopefully you 2 did as well, and you can tell me what you guys thought of that.
Ugh, that's what I thought of it. Very Halloween-y.
That's the vibe I was going for.
I caught the end of that right as it joined up.
That's great. No, that's these deck techs are wonderful because it really does show some of the versatility in there and some of the ideas, and hopefully gives other people ideas too for their own deck techs to do. Because I loved before seeing deck techs in the past, and I can't wait to see new deck techs as new people get their hands on these things and sort out stuff like that. I'm really excited for that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So I guess the pressure's on Shahan now. Who's
Yep. We have a question in there. Well, first of all, we have the Will question. Yes, who's your favorite designer?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I completely forgot about that because I was so engrossed in the video.
That's how much he thinks about the designers. He completely forgot about the designer question.
Will, since you asked, I guess you're my favorite designer. And then when John asked, he'll be whichever. The most recent designer to ask me is my favorite designer.
That's a very safe answer, man. Yep. Are you a lawyer?
Rules lawyer? Oh, I don't want to be a rules lawyer. No.
Not a rules lawyer. No. Airboy had a question here. Were there new aerial creatures that came out? There's only 4 summons in the old sets that have it, and 2 of them are high aura cost because of that ability.
Yeah, no new aerial summons in invasions. But who knows what could happen in the future? Because with the change to aerial, it opens up design space. Now aerial can be, conceivably used more. So because there's more safety valves for it, so to speak. So
it was very taxing before on the design team to be able to use something like that. Now they have that freedom to say, yes, we can control this properly. It's not going to run away with anything. So yeah, I think that opens up that, like you were saying, for sure.
Yeah, the first time I saw alterations in Genesis, and I was like, I came from Magic, so I'm comparing it to the enchantments, and the fact that they have a health, so it's like if an alteration ever gets out of hand, there's like a built-in way to just deal with it with the normal way people play, just summons that deal damage. Like it's right there. So I was like, oh, that's great.
Yep. Chef's kiss. It's perfect. Yeah.
Damien has a question. John feels.
Damien has a question for me. I just want to let Shahan know first, so that John feels unloved. So you'll have to patch that up later.
John needs to step up and ask the question.
That's right. You're right. He'll be my favorite designer.
If John's feeling unloved, then John needs to ask the question.
This is true.
It's not even the highest bidder. It's the most recent bidder.
Yeah,
you don't have to bid anything.
And you don't have to bid anything. That's right. It's just some words on a paper, some bits on a screen. To answer Damien,
if that's the way it works, Shahan, who's your favorite part owner of Genesis?
Oh, I guess that must be Jason. Yeah.
See how it works? Yeah. The system works great, Jeff.
You know what? I do not see a flaw in this. Not whatsoever. This seems good. I'm okay with it. Okay, I can answer Damien's question now. Yeah, I did the fan art last year of the Christmas Nubia. I haven't had anything planned yet for this year. Normally, a Christmas shutdown, basically children's holiday, which is what my Christmas shutdown follows. We get a little bit of time before before Christmas. This year we don't, the way the calendar's worked out, so I don't know if I have time to do any sort of a fun little parody picture thing to put up like that. Hopefully I do, but it's kind of working up until the last minute on my other job sort of thing, so I don't know if I'll have a chance to. If not, I'll try and do one for next year, because I know some people have been asking for some of my art back again, but try not to let it interfere with the Genesis stuff that needs to get done first. It's a list of priorities. Now that I'm there, this is a priority for me, is getting the Genesis stuff done first. Then I can have fun with my art.
I've got the full set of Chippy Champions, so.
Oh, Sean's got the full set of Chippy Champions. Nice. There we go. No bragging there, eh, Sean? No.
Oh yeah.
Those were a limited print run, actually. They were. So there's I don't know. There's no plans to reprint anything like that. So that is what it is.
Very cool.
John, we would do a subset of Jeff art, but I do not think it would sell well at all. And that's kind of key to running a company, is to get product that actually moves.
So no outhouse occupied tokens for Minot.
You know what? Oh, I forgot to thank Shahan. Some of the ideas I had, like the Batman and Robin climbing the wall for Holy Wall. It was Holy Wall of Batman. The outhouse occupied token. There was a handful of them. I have a list on my phone actually still. Those were all Shahan's ideas that I was going to one by one make real. And I think we stopped at Batman, because that's just where everything kind of, it's where the outhouse hit the fan, if you want to use a word there. And we kind of had to stop. So. But we'll see. Shahan has probably a better pun library in his brain than I do. So we'll see what he comes up with for me to have fun. I'm not allowed to name cards, I'll warn you guys going forward, because I will name them with the intent of having a pun going beyond it. So I am not allowed to have the final say on naming cards so that they're not perfectly prepared for a pun.
Well,
Mr.
now
Alex
what,
said
Jeff?
hi. He just joined us.
Oh, hey, Mr. 21 Alex.
Hello?
Nice to see you.
Add him to the list.
Welcome
You
to
know what?
the
I should
chat.
mention. We should mention our wheel because we do have a wheel going today.
Mhm.
This is going
Yes,
to be
we
our
do.
last wheel of the year because next Monday we should talk about that too. Next Monday there
Yeah.
there isn't going to be an official stream, and the following Monday there's not going to be an official like important information type stream because it is Christmas Day, right? I've got my numbers right.
Yeah, it's literally Christmas Day next Monday.
Christmas Day next Monday, and then New Year's Day the following week, which I know will be okay. People should be awake by 7:00 at night, but who knows for sure what state they'll be in, right? So this will be our last giveaway of the year, last official stream like this. That's why we got Shahan on, because we wanted to make him kind of like the nice bookend for the year.
That's right. Shahan is
Hello,
our
I'm the
gift to
bookend.
you, the viewers.
There we are. Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Or whatever other holiday you celebrate, whatever other festival you celebrate this time of year. Oh, Mr. Alex got to play with some of the new cards. They are great. That's really good to hear, Mr. Alex. I'm glad. Was that sorry, Mr. Alex, you're based in the US or in Canada? You're based in the US, I think, correct? You don't have to give me more details than that. I just want to make sure because we had some questions before about US distribution. If you've gotten some cards, then it must be in someone's hands somewhere. Some LGS must have these cards. Because I know I didn't hand deliver them down there.
Canada, eh?
Oh, you are Canadian. Oh, why did I think you were in the US? Okay, never mind then. Forget that. I'm way off the mark. I don't know why I thought you were in the US, Mr. Alex. I'm sorry about that. Oh, at
Oh, plays
Forbes.
at Forbes.
Oh,
Nice.
of course. Yep. That's great then. So you play with Damien then, I'm guessing, right? Damien's down at Forbes. So that's great. That's really good to know. Okay, so sorry. I thought we had some stuff at LGSs in the US. I'm off the mark there. But I have added Alex's name. Sorry, what I was going to talk about before, to the wheel. We are running a wheel today again. We're going to give away, I think, 3 packs of Invasions because it is, the holiday season. Let's give away that extra pack. If we land on John again, we will, of course, we'll give away a pack of an older set to go along with that. And right now we have 12 people in there, so the odds are very good. If you haven't commented yet, drop a comment in here so we can add you to the Magic Wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Penn has not been in here yet, so I will add Stephen Penn now. When I speak, this is the only time I speak and people listen, so I kind of take advantage of that by talking. And Ross Toss as well. Okay, let's add
Nice.
Ross Toss.
Rostos says his store's expecting to get their delivery tomorrow. in the
Oh,
States.
beautiful. Beautiful,
Awesome.
beautiful.
Very exciting.
Does it happen to be near Dallas, like Stephen Penn is asking? Because if it is, that'd be great, but I don't think so. Well, that's wonderful. It gets in tomorrow. Let us know what you think of it. Drop some comments in the socials when you start cracking packs, and definitely show off those foils if you get any of them. I'd love to see what people are breaking. I haven't seen everything in foil yet. I'm dying to see all these foils, and I haven't seen everything. I've seen a couple key ones, but I'd like to see more. No other questions for Shahan then? John, you don't want to ask if you're the favorite designer now? No, I guess not. Okay, favorite.
Whenever
developer?
you need a positivity bump, you just need to ask me, and I'll be saying yes.
I have a question for Jeff.
Yes.
Regarding the wheel.
Uh-huh.
We're going to have a gameplay video come up, and I think it's around 20 minutes long. It's a good match, and there's like lots of graphics online, but it's about a 20-minute long gameplay video. Do you want to save doing the wheel till after that at the end like we usually do, or as we're getting close to 8 o'clock, do you want to do the wheel now?
Aw.
You know what? I think we could probably do the wheel now.
Thanks, Steven.
You know, Shahan has no ability to. Oh, I know why he said that. Because now when there's a rules call, Shahan will vote in his favor. I see how that worked. I understand.
That's not how it works. I'm incapable of making rules decisions depending on who's there. Because I can't betray the cards. Like the cards.
You can't
the
betray the
rulebook.
cards. That's a good one. That's really
how
good.
they work. It's out of my control. That's how the cards work.
Oh, Shahan, Eric L is asking who your favorite Chrono Walker is.
I mean, that's got to be the beta Chrono Walker, like Damien said. Eric L is my favorite Chrono Walker.
Eric L, who's your favorite Chrono Walker? Watch, he's going to say Eric L, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You
like,
can vote for yourself.
I made a value assessment when I was there. Like, so, like, if he makes a different decision, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Because, like, it was very calculated and tactical.
We could leave it up to the people, Jason. I think maybe we should do the wheel now because we have gotten most people in. Not that I don't expect people to stick around, but I know people do have busy lives, and if they can watch part of if they don't get through all the gameplay, that's fine. They can catch up on it later, sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
what do you think?
for that matter, though, anyone who's been entered, they can come back and watch the last 2 minutes of the
Fair
live stream
point.
later too, right?
You know what?
So,
Let's wait then because some people may pop in still, and I'd like to give people all a fair shake if they join up halfway through that. I think we can wait till the end.
so yeah, so once we start the gameplay video, if anyone wants to bow out, just come back and check the last 2 or 3 minutes of the video later on a replay, and you'll see whether or not you were the winner.
But don't leave. Stick around because it's great gameplay. If you haven't watched one of these yet, Jason's color commentary play-by-play is phenomenal. I've learned, it's going to sound silly, but I've learned so much just by listening to how he talks about what he's doing and why he's doing it and what's going on in there. It's probably, I would say it's probably some of the best gameplay footage I've watched because you're not expected to know exactly how everything works at all times, which is wonderful. He does explain it well. So do watch it if you have any interest in how the game works. It's really, really well done, and it does explain it to you. You could come in as a brand new player and probably pick up on it in 1 or 2 of Jason's videos. Aside from the starting videos he's put on the website, watch these and you'll learn some gameplay interaction and how it works.
Well, that was absolutely my goal. Everything that I do, my motivation is to make sure that while people who love the game and have played it for a while are going to enjoy the content, I really care a lot about making sure brand new people who have maybe it's just got on their radar, they don't even know how the game works yet. You could watch this video tonight, and there's so much on-screen graphics, including expanded close-ups of the cards so that you can read them crystal clear. And like the cards will pop out of where they are on the mat up onto the screen for you, so you know exactly what cards we're talking about. A lot of times when the creatures or the champions take damage, I have like special sound effects and the numbers actually show up on the screen like a video game, so you can really track like there's a whole board to keep track of. And if I'm talking about one specific card, I feel it helps a lot if there are those graphics and audio cues so that you can really follow along easier. So that's definitely my motivation, is I care very, very much about making sure new people who are just discovering the game can follow along and join in the fun, so to speak, by watching. So
Shahan, are you sticking around or do you have to get going? Because I don't expect you to have to sit there for 20 minutes. If you've got other things tonight, you can also say your goodbyes to people. That's up to you. I don't want to make you sit there for 20 minutes unless you've got nothing to do and you want to watch the game.
I'll stick around. Yeah.
Awesome.
nice. All right, good.
That's the right answer.
Perfect.
It was a test.
Oh, okay, great. I passed.
Listen to
Nice.
him. Once again, who's your favorite part owner of the game?
Wait, Jason. There we go.
That's right. See,
I'm trying to remember who asked.
Because I would,
You know
I'm
what?
a little confusing. Yeah.
I would never.
It's a
catch
very
you
easy
like
answer.
that.
Sorry. It's a very easy answer, Shahan. You say it's the one that starts with a J. I just can't remember the name, but it starts with a J.
Oh, so sneaky! All three start with a J.
Good.
Yep.
Oh,
That's what
so
I
sneaky. All right.
Okay,
well,
Jason, you want to roll some footage here and we'll see how some gameplay pans out?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what people think of this video tonight. I worked really hard on it. To be very honest, I put over 10 hours of editing into this all last night, and then I did about an 8-hour day today sitting here at home. So hopefully everybody likes it and enjoys it, because that's how much I care. I want to make sure you guys get some good content that you enjoy. So with that being said, I'm going to mute my mic. If you guys could also mute yours, and then I'll chat with you guys again in about 20 minutes after we watch and see what happens in a classic matchup of a older champion versus new, with Tashir facing off against Harlequin. It's going to be good, and I guarantee you, with Harlequin being my champion, it's going to get spooky. So be warned. Okay, mute your mics, guys. Hello, Genesis fans, and welcome back for another exciting gameplay video. My name is Genesis J, and I'm here to talk you through the action as we see Tashir face off against one of Invasion's brand new champions, Harlequin. Tashir today is being piloted by my good friend Brian, and I'm going to be bringing Harlequin's evilness to life. Let's get into the action and see how today's game folds out. Before we can begin play, we do have to take care of the traditional rolling of the dice to see which player is going to get to choose if they go first or second. It appears that Tashir has won the roll today and is choosing to go first each round. I'd also like to make a quick mention now. If you notice, the Tashir champion artwork being used today is a little different than cards you might have seen before. That's because that's a Tashir that was done unofficially by our very own Jeff Pacito back when we were all still just fans of Genesis and not officially involved in the game during the reign of the first company. The policy has always been that you can use any cool card you want for a champion as long as the stats are right. So there were lots of tokens and proxies going around with cool artworks, and Jeffrey gets credit for that cool one. But now the game's underway. Tashir makes a mistake forgetting that that card that he's trying to summon is a creature that will exert him. So he's going to take that back for a moment, play a few other cards, and then we'll see that creature pop up again in just a moment. So, another mistake. He must be nervous because there's a camera watching him. He revealed another card by accident, but here's what we have at the end of the turn. We have a Hawa Jin, and we have an Earthmane Lion coming in. The Earthmane Lion does have Blitz, so it's going to get to have a turn this round, but the trade-off is you have to exert your champion to beckon it, so he kind of loses the rest of his champion's turn. Now that both Tashir and the Hawa Jin are exerted, it's going to wind up becoming my first turn. Harlequin steps forward by 1 square, and the first thing I'm going to do is be beckoning in a Pox Spreader, just to put something between myself and that blitzy lion that's staring me down. I will have a trigger that I'll be resolving for getting a bonus Pox Spreader token, but I usually like to do all my beckons first, and then I just put out all the tokens right after. So what else do we do here? Looks like I brought out a second Pox Spreader, just spreading that Pox all around. Loving it. What else comes out? I believe I did something else. Let's see. Oh yes, the enchantment Scavenge Parts. This is a card that I think is going to do fairly well in this deck for me. The first time each round that a summon is destroyed around me, I'll gain a health. And there's going to be a lot of tokens on the board, a lot of creatures, and I think there's going to be a lot of chances for me to gain a health. And a health every round adds up, makes a big difference. So there I am paying the energy costs to cast that card, and now it's attached to my champion. We'll see whether or not the value is there as the game proceeds. So I've already got a couple creatures out, which is great, but the whole idea of this game with this deck is I want to clog the board up as much as I can with creatures. So luckily for me, I also had a Winged Elate in my opening hand. This is one of the creatures that I think is going to really shine, because every time Winged Elate gets its turn in a round, it gets to spit out a free Vad Yuta token. So I'm going to try and keep the Winged Elate out of harm's way, but get a lot of free Vad Yuta tokens out of it that I can send up and clog up the board. And of course, speaking of clogging up the board, now that I've done all my beckoning for the first round, I'm going to basically do all my Harlequin triggers at once here just to put out some Pox Spreaders. It's technically not the right gameplay, but we knew in the first round there wasn't really going to be much interaction, so that's how we played it out. All these tokens come out, and now normally that would be the end of the round, because Harlequin's going to be done, but of course that Earthmane Lion on Tashir's side has Blitz, so it's going to get a turn before the first round ends. And where's it going to go? It moves 2 spaces, and it's going to take out one of the creatures. Looks like we knocked out a token, but that's great because that's what those tokens were there for. First round ends, and we get to move on to round number 2. Round 2 is going to get off to a quick start as Tashir moves the Earthmane Lion over to attack my champion right away.
Ow!
I'm going to be taking 3 damage. One of the benefits of having more creatures on the game board means I'm going to be getting more turns overall this round. So I'll get to kind of shape the way the board state lays out, and that'll be fun. My first turn of this round is going to be playing as my Winged Elate, which means a Vad Yuta token comes in first before anything else, and then my Winged Elate is allowed to move, so I slide him down beside the Earthmane Lion, and we're going to take out that Earthmane Lion before it does any more damage. Once I put exert tokens on the token that just came in and my Winged Elate who is at a turn, I'll be passing back to Tashir. Oh no, this is exciting. Tashir has summoned one of my personal favorite creatures, the very powerful 8-Chi Gargantuan Rabbit. This is a card that can do a lot of damage, it has a lot of health, and it can even fatigue, meaning if it hits a champion, it can make a champion have to mill cards off the top of their deck. This card does a lot of work and is a big threat the second it enters the game. In case you didn't notice before, Tashir actually has a very interesting awareness. Tashir's only able to hit things that are 2 squares away from it, which means that Tashir was just able to hit my Pox Spreader without my Pox Spreader being able to hit back. It's not all bad news though, as that pox spreader was in a spot around my champion, so the scavenge parts triggers and I do gain a life for that. Next up, one of my pox spreaders steps up and is going to try to take a little hit out of the gargantuan rabbit and lower its life total by 1. I've got a funny feeling that that pox spreader is probably not going to last too long after that. I think somebody might want to get some revenge, and sure enough, use the halogen to deal some damage. And there goes my pox spreader. Now the thing that I like about this Harlequin deck is that there's pretty much always another pox spreader somewhere around. And I'm going to have one of my pox spreaders step up here and do 1 damage to take out that halogen and avenge the previous pox spreader. For my next turn, I'll be moving Harlequin 1 spot to Harlequin's left. And then I will casually be asking my opponent if they remember the fact that I had a token die directly in front of Gargantuan Rabbit earlier. That's going to be relevant because I do have a really cool Burning Abomination, which is a Resurrect Beacon, meaning I can bring it onto the board for cheaper than usual, as long as I put it onto a space where a creature has already died this round. So that's some good synergy that works out well and gets a big body of my own in front of the big body of the rabbit for cheaper than usual price. And that's going to do it for me ending my turn as Harlequin for this round. I'm going to move a pox spreader up into position and exert it as well. And that's the end of the round, and now we're going to be going into round 3. As we begin round 3, Tashir appears to be wanting to use Gargantuan Rabbit first, which is going to be just as big of a problem as I thought, as it's going to be able to do 5 damage, which is more than enough to knock out my Burning Abomination. Well, after losing my Burning Abomination so quickly and easily, I'm going to have to slide my Harlequin back 1 square to the right, closer to my Gargantuan Rabbit enemy, so that I can bring in an Angel of Death. Now this flyer is pretty cool. Normally it does 3 damage, but if a creature has already died in the round, it will actually do 6 damage. Now of course I also get another pox spreader out on the board, because I beckoned a new creature, and with all these little pox spreaders dying so easily, I'm hoping to get some big hits of 6. In with my flying Angel of Death. Now we get to the point where I'm hoping that I'll be able to get my life-gaining engine running in high gear now. I'm going to be attaching a second Scavenge Parts enchantment to my champion, which means that the first time in any round that any creature dies around my champion, now I'm going to be gaining 2 life instead of 1. And that can definitely make a big difference. And with that, I'll exert my Harlequin and wind up passing the turn back to my opponent. It's Tashir's turn now, and Tashir decides to cast Searing Light, targeting one of my pox spreaders. So that takes that away. And then Tashir is going to be able to take out my other pox spreader just using their normal attack. Now then, the good news is that the taking out of that token does trigger my 2 Scavenge Parts, and I will be gaining 2 life right now. Next up, my Winged Elote is going to be taking a turn, which means the first thing it will be doing is giving me a free Vadyuta token, which is going to put right in front of it. And then once that's exerted, I'll be moving my Winged Elote over behind my champion and leaving it there. Then I'll be moving one of my pox spreaders up, and that's going to take a small little hit of 1 damage out of the Gargantuan Rabbit. Then I will move another token into place right behind the pox spreader, and it looks like that's probably it for the round, and we are going into round 4. So I think at this point we're starting to get the gist of how the game's going, so I'm not going to be putting up graphics for every single thing. But right now we have the Gargantuan Rabbit attacking my Angel of Death for some big damage. It's going to hit and do enough to put my Angel of Death down to 1 health remaining. Then I'm going to take a second to explain to my opponent what I'm doing right now, is that my Angel of Death will be able to do 6 damage in the future once a creature has died. So I'm going to sacrifice a pox spreader to give the Gargantuan Rabbit Decay, which kills my token, which will make any future attacks this round by my Angel of Death worth 6 damage. And that's the end of the turn for my Pox Spreader that I played and sacrificed. And now it's going to be back to Tashir. Tashir's going to step up. And what is Tashir going to do? Tashir's going to bring in a very cool creature with a very cool name. This is a Hyam. Check out the cool awareness on this card. It has Air Brand. It's going to do some fun stuff if I allow it to. Let's see how this plays out. Now we have Tashir casting Calculated Assault, which in this situation, he'll be paying 5 energy to do 3 damage directly to my champion, Harlequin. And now Tashir's going to finish off their turn by using their action speed heavy attack to target my Harlequin for 3 damage. Now then, thanks to the fact that we've already had at least one creature, if not more, die this round, my Angel of Death is able to do 6 damage in one hit, and that's going to be enough to take out the Gargantuan Rabbit. Next up, I'll be moving a Vaduta token up towards Tashir, and the Vaduta token is going to try and get in there for 1 damage on Tashir. I feel like we've gotten to an interesting game state with the board right now, what with Tashir still having 21 health and my Harlequin only having 6 health, but yet I have around double the aura left over as I move a token up and take my Alate's turn to create a new free token. So it makes it interesting for sure, because at 6 health I'm definitely not comfortable, despite the fact that I have a pretty massive board state and a lot of blockers out there to slow down the threats from my Tashir opponent. Although I do admit that Hyam is looking pretty scary still. It can do some real damage and hit with some unusual awareness. So I want to make sure that I keep my Harlequin as far away from Hyam as I can. So you notice that I just brought Harlequin back 1 square, and now I'm casting Lasting Advice to gain myself a couple health, because again, 6 health has me feeling a little nervous. After getting some life from that last spell, the final thing I'm going to do this round as Harlequin is beckon in another Winged Elate so that we can keep pumping out those tokens extra fast. And then it looks like that's it for the round, and we are moving on to round 5. Round 5 is going to begin with Tashir getting a little aggressive and moving his Hyam up to try to do some damage to my Harlequin. But what he forgot about is, because it's a new round, my Winged Elate is no longer exerted and is able to hit for 3 damage. And if I do that with both of my creatures sitting there, I'm able to take out that Hyam without Harlequin taking any damage. And I'm okay with that trade-off, especially when I'm still low with only 8 health at this point. Now my Angel of Death does have flight, so thanks to the fact that we've just seen a creature die, I figured now is a good time to fly on over to Tashir and try and get a hit in for 6 damage. Now here's where things can sometimes get a little interesting when you're rewatching a match that's been recorded previously. It appears somehow, despite the fact that my Angel of Death was supposed to do 6 damage because a creature had died, apparently Tashir missed that, or I maybe didn't say it properly at the time, but for some reason Tashir appears to have only taken 3 damage. Technically should have been down at 15 health, but these are the things that happen sometimes in any game. So we'll carry on with him at 18 and see if it winds up mattering later on. Now here we're going to see Tashir taking a step away from my Angel of Death to be able to get it into Tashir's awareness so that Tashir can go ahead and just boop it for a couple damage with Tashir's normal attack, taking away my angel, my poor sweet angel that deserved a better fate. Oh whoa. Next up we have a Vaduta token jumping on down, and that's going to ping Tashir for damage, and oh, we've got another token coming in to ping Tashir for another damage, so the health is dropping away, Move another token into position. I want to keep my Harlequin as far away from any potential danger, and right now it looks like Tashir is pretty much all on their own. Heading into round 6, it's going to be an interesting challenge for Tashir because, as we can see, Tashir's all on their own. I've got a bunch of tokens in the way, slowing things down. So Tashir's got a little bit of pressure on them to try and get a board state going again, get something out to provide some support. Otherwise, those 16 health versus 8 is not going to make a big difference over time. And we're going to be starting this turn off with Leap, which is a very interesting card to be playing now, because being action speed, that will make Tashir jump ahead 2 spaces, but not be able to rotate or anything after, because to do an action speed spell, you have to have already been through your move phase. Which, if I remember right, I think I might have been mentioning to Tashir at the time. So yeah, I don't know whether or not that was intentional, I can't remember now, but it did wind up leaving Tashir having nothing to do but exert, and then that allowed me to get a couple tokens in, once I figured out how to position them right. And I got a couple damage off with a couple of tokens, which was nice, 3 of them in fact, bringing Tashir down from 16 health to 13 this round. And then I have those Winged Lattes down there that are going to be bringing in some tokens, so first Winged Latte brought in a token, and then I moved a little closer to the action. Second Winged Latte here is going to trigger. We're going to bring in a token and then likely move it as well. And again, because of flying, the Winged Lattes are able to move past tokens or other creatures without being blocking away all of Tashir's possible threats. And what you're seeing now is I wound up using Harlequin to knock out one of my own tokens, because I thought gaining 2 life from the enchantment attached to me was worth giving up a token that I got for free. So Harlequin's up to 10 life now, which is good. I'm gaining more life. I've got the board pretty much on lockdown. I got creatures everywhere. Tashir's all by themselves. I think we can see where this is getting to, but let's play it out and see what happens. Tashir moves up a square, rotates, and brings in, here we go, Longma. Rated 8 out of 8, the top of the power scale. Longma can do 5 damage and can even push people around and knock them back a space after Longma hits something. And of course it also has 5 health, so that's a beefy boy, nice big horse. And we'll see whether or not it can actually turn the tides at all. Oh, very nice. Tashir's following that up with another good beckon, a Earthmane Lion. That's exciting because that, again, as earlier in the game, has Blitz, which means that's going to get to attack this turn. So, of course, right away I'm going to have a token try and will it down by 1 health. And Earthmane Lion's going to take that damage. And then in response after that, looks like Earthmane Lion's going to... Wait, maybe not. What's Earthmane Lion going to do? Oh, we're thinking about it. Let's see what happens. So Tashir's taken a moment to consider all their options, and it looks like they're landing back on doing something with their Earthmane Lion again. They're going to rotate, and yes, they are going to get revenge and knock out that token that did hit the Earthmane Lion for 1 damage. Now that Tashir's done their turns, I'm going to have both of my tokens right beside Longma go ahead and knock 2 health off of Longma. Then my Winged Latte is going to create a new Vad Yuta token for free at the beginning of its turn. And then again, thanks to the Winged Latte having flying, it's going to go ahead and jump right up into the fray and deal 3 damage to the Longma, which I believe should knock it out. Once all the exert tokens are in place, then my other Winged Latte is going to be having a turn, creating another Vad Yuta token onto the board, exerting that right away, and just staying in place. Keep the Winged Lattes safe and sound so they can keep making more tokens. Next up, Harlequin is going to be eating another one of my tokens, which again is because of the trigger that'll happen. I'll be gaining 2 health, and now Harlequin's up to 12 health. And this game is shaping up quite nicely, I must say. Now then, Tashir's going to be starting off this round by having their Earthmane Lion step up and take out another one of my tokens. Once that's done, I'm going to have one of my Winged Lattes move move over and attack for 3 damage onto Sheer. Looks like I forgot to do my trigger at the start there and put out a new token. Hopefully that won't bite me too bad. I feel like I've got enough that it's okay though. Now Tashir's going to think about their options for a minute. Go all the way back into the corner and do enough damage to take out my Winged Latte, which I will sorely miss. Now it's time for me to have one of my many tokens do the final damage to knock out that Earthmane Lion, leaving Tashir all alone in the corner. Not exactly ideal. This Winged Latte on its turn, I did remember to make a token. That's good to see. Winged Latte is going to move closer. And in fact, I think I'm probably going to just put all my stuff as close as I can because I like the idea of trying to hem that Tashir in. You'll see that a token just disappeared from in front of my Harlequin because Harlequin decided to munch on that and gain another 2 life. So Harlequin's up to 14. Board state's again really good. We got lots of small tokens all over the place. Tashir's stuck in a corner. Of course, Tashir will get to play first this turn, so we'll see what the plan is for Tashir. But once again, I feel like things are definitely going my way at the moment. Alright, so Tashir's going to move down a square, stepping right in front of one of my tokens, but obviously I guess the mindset is you're not going to get away from them anyway, so might as well do what you need to do. And oh, Zenith Pulse. That's a card I've played a lot over the last few years. Love it. And Zenith Pulse is getting placed underneath my... it turns out Zenith Pulse is getting placed underneath nothing because Tashir's just realized they don't have enough aura left to cast Zenith Pulse. So there's going to have to be a change of plans. Let's see what backup plan Tashir's got. It's going to be Snare. Well, when you're almost completely out of aura, it's good to have a few cards in your deck that you can turn to and use that require energy or milling cards off the top of your deck instead of trying to spend points that you don't have anymore. So good play, fair call. And then Tashir's going to use their attack and get some damage in on my Winged Latte. Also a good play. And then now it's going to be my turn again, and I'm going to start off with Harlequin moving up 1 and bringing in an Archon of Vengeance. Now this is a card I was excited to put in my deck. It's actually one of the more useful, more powerful creatures. It's almost unfortunate to get it this late in the game. Cool thing about Archon of Vengeance is that the first time in a round that my opponent destroys one of my creatures, I can move Archon of Vengeance and put it into that spot, and it gets unexerted, so it's ready to do some attacking. So when an Archon of Vengeance is out, I always want to try and use them first, with the plan and the hopes of getting double value and moving it and unexerting it later on. Now then after that, it's time to start picking away with the tokens again. So 1 token gets in for damage, 2nd token gets in for damage, 3rd token's going to get in there as well and try and tie Tashir down. And this is an interesting spot where Tashir's going to be in a bit of a problem because Tashir's awareness can only see 2 squares away, and all of those tokens are immediately beside Tashir. So mobility is going to be a problem for Tashir. The board keeps filling up, more tokens coming out. And you can basically see how this is going to go as we enter round 8. Will it be the final round? Let's find out. Once again, Tashir's going to be beginning the round, and this time Tashir is beckoning in a Cattail Tiger. That's a good use of Tashir's final few aura, bringing in a beckon, something just to be a distraction, get in the way. Not a bad idea. Tashir's also going to use its normal attack to take care of my Winged Latte before I get another 3 token. And then that's going to be it for Tashir's team, and now we're going to get to play out my side. Let's see what Harlequin does here. What did I do first? Well, I'm going to move the Archon of Vengeance up. Thanks to the triggered ability, it's going to get to jump into the spot where a creature just died, so it's going to be closer and have less ground to cover, so that's pretty cool. Then we're going to have a Winged Latte move over to the side and do a damage to that Cattail Tiger. And then after that, the Archon of Vengeance is going to step up, and looks like we're going to be taking care of that Cattail Tiger before it even gets a turn. That always feels good when you do that. And we still have a few more tokens in play. Let's see what happens next. We're going to do some damage directed to Tashir with the tokens, knocking Tashir from 7 damage down to 4 thanks to the 3 tokens that have Tashir surrounded. Harlequin's not really going to be doing anything, and then we're going to move on to the next round, the 9th round. All right, and Tashir's going to be starting off this round by casting a spell, paying for it with energy. And the spell is Hallowed Grounds. Oh, so here, this is an alteration that when your champion is on top of Hallowed Grounds, it prevents 1 damage out of any damage that you would take each time you would get hurt. Obviously, this would have been a great alteration to have had a few rounds ago. What with all the ones that my tokens have been doing, it would have negated all that damage and kept Tashir in the battle. As it is now, it does definitely shut down my tokens. Each of them trying to do 1 damage won't be able to hurt Tashir anymore. So I'll have to just get the tokens out of the way now and let my big heavy hitter come in. And the Archon of Vengeance does 5 damage normally, which means that even preventing the 1 damage, it's still going to work out to 4. And that, my friends, is the game. On behalf of Genesis Battle of Champions, Edge of Exile Entertainment would like to remind viewers at home that a reproduction or rebroadcast of this sporting event in full or in partial is absolutely encouraged. Please share and like this video all you want. Spread the word, let people know. It's awesome. We want people to know. Thanks for watching. I remembered I had to unmute my mic. Well,
Nice.
how does everybody feel about that?
Oh, that was a sweet game. It's always cool to watch like
Go
it's
on.
always cool to watch the match between like a summoner and a champion that uses more energy, because it's like, well, it looks like I'm doing pretty good. I got lots of guys around, but you're never quite sure because
Yeah.
they've got all these they play more from their hands. So there's like the mental game there, and you're like, I think I'm good. Do I need to play more? I'm not sure.
All I'm going to say that I noticed is that Tashir played more than just 5 cheat cards and they lost. I'm not going to say that's the reason why, but there were other cheese in that deck, not just 5. So
I mean, there were more
We'll leave
than
it
5
there.
cheese in the other deck too, though. So.
we're not talking about the other deck, Sean. We're talking about Tashir's deck now. Don't change the subject.
Oh, my mistake. And yeah, my judge mind, I was just buzzing because obviously it wasn't in effect for your game, but I was just thinking about how different lines you could take with the new flight rolls. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you could just move your little dude that you spawned on the right. You could just move him over in there to deal with that. Also, the Blitzbane Lion. Oh, I love seeing the Blitz Lion. I think it's Blitzbane it's called. Yeah, like I think that's a really powerful summon. Doesn't see enough love. People get scared off by the exert cost, but like if you only play 1 a turn and you're going to exert anyway, like I mean that's just an above cost summon that didn't really cost you anything, right? So it's like it's always you should always play a couple, right, in any red deck. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tweaking that deck a little after that. I played a couple games with it, recorded that one with it, and there were a lot of things in the deck that I really like, and there are a couple cards that came up not in that game but in other games where I was a little underwhelmed. So there's definitely room to improve it. Hopefully, maybe I'll even see some other people's Harlequin deck showing up online soon. That'd be really cool to see what other people can do with it. But there were a couple combos I wanted to highlight just to put some thoughts into people's minds about things they could do with it. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. I love it. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I had a lot of fun editing it all to make it look good. And yeah, it was a pleasure.
That's what I'm waiting to see, Jason. I'm waiting to see people take your deck design or someone else's deck design and tweak it and modify it a bit to kind of be like, oh, I didn't think I could go there. That's a great idea. I love seeing that sort of thing, like building upon building.
Yeah.
I really like seeing that. I can't wait to see more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I actually built a Harlequin deck, which I got to play with DC and some of the great guys at Forbes this Saturday.
Nice.
And I, what's it called? I opened 3 boxes and then that sealed full of 7 packs, and I got 7 Cobbled Amalgates. So I went kind of all in on that with those.
Nice.
And the concept there is like, because Cobbled Amalgate is a really strong summon if you can get that first hit off, because it starts with 2 health. And for example, if you're playing against Idris, you're like, well, this is 2 health, and Idris can just do 2 damage anywhere in the arena. This doesn't feel the best. But what I was thinking is that Harlequin, Like it's supposed to be part of her thing is she gets these pox spreaders, and that's part of like her lower aura cost. I was like, what if Cobbled Amalgate just eats my own pox spreader? So
Oh.
I just kill my own dudes to get it up to 5 health immediately before I need to rush into the arena and put it in a more dangerous position. So
Yeah.
it slows down my aggressive start because Cobbled Amalgate, it's kind of coming down. That takes another turn to get to 5 health, and then it comes in. But then it's a 5 health Cobbled Amalgate, which is getting a bit hard to deal with. So I delay my aggression, but we'll have to see how good it is. I've got a couple of games, but got to play way more than that, of course.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's awesome. That's a really good plan. Really good strategy there. I like that. What did you guys think of it? The people that watched, I saw some comments running through there. It was great seeing people were really interested and excited about it. So I see some comments here from Steven. Miss H and Scavenge Parts is pretty rough. Great combo. Cobble Boy is wild. Jalarian Tiger was a little disappointed that Tashir got cornered. It's always thought, where did I go? I'm gone. I'm gone again.
What?
Jason.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me get that out there. Sorry about that. You can't talk about those Cobbled Amalgates without them just showing up and taking over. Sorry about that.
They just pop up everywhere. Oh my gosh. No, that's great. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to read off the names. I got 16 names on this list. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone.
Very nice.
So if you do not hear your name and you're in the stream watching and you want a chance to win 3 packs of Genesis Battle of Champions Invasion, possibly a 4th pack if John Rayner gets on the wheel by accident, drop a comment. Say anything positive and polite. Sorry, it doesn't have to be positive. Anything polite in the chat. But I'm going to go through the names right now. Make sure you hear your name. Damien, John Rayner, Cardboard Fab, Shahan, Badson, Madtown Hobby, Airboy Zeal, sorry. Jeremy Heron, Imperial Pulls, Eric L, Ishmael, Mr. Alex, Stephen P, Ross Toss, Foyo Games, and the Jalarian Tiger.
Nice.
If you did not hear your name, give you a couple minutes here to get something in. And while you're doing that, I just wanted to thank Shahan for joining us. You can find him semi-regularly on Twitch or on YouTube with the Chrono Walkers. He's the better half of the Chrono Walkers, is what... I'm just reading the copy you sent me, Shahan.
It's a lie. No.
He's one half of the Chrono Walkers.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
He is one half of the Chrono Walkers. Do go there. He's got some great insight into things. They spent about 16 hours opening a box of cards so they could go through every fine detail of every single piece of cardboard. It's a great watch. I tried watching it to help me sleep one night and it did not work. I just stayed up all night watching it. So do watch it. You will be enthralled. It's
again,
really
Shahan, that leads back to like how I was saying about how good you look with the hat and whatnot. That's why he was up all night, couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I
apologize. I'll try to look worse in the next video. I mean, my hands were the only thing in the video though, so don't know what to do about that.
You're like David Duchovny in that movie. You're a hand model apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, I've seen no new names pop in. I've got everyone on the wheel. Let's turn the camera towards the wheel and spin it up. We'll see a winner, and then we'll let Shahan say a final goodbye, maybe if you're okay with that, Jason, unless you have something else to talk about.
No, sure. And then we'll run the credits after.
All right, awesome. Let's turn this camera around. Let's point it at that screen. Let me see. I'm waiting for YouTube to catch up and show me that I've got.
Yeah, a little more to the right. Just a little more to the right.
What if I pull it back more?
It still doesn't help. Gotta go to the right. A little
more to the right. How's that? More?
Nope. Keep going. More right. More right. There you go. Perfect.
Got it?
Yeah, you're
all
good.
Right. Okay. Let's shuffle up these 16 names. And everyone hope for John Rayner so that they get their extra pack.
Yeah. Good things happen when JC's name comes up.
Oh, it was so close. Oh, no. Is it going to roll over to Steven, though? No. Stop that, Ishmael.
Nice.
Ishmael, it's yours.
Very cool. Another local player up in my neighborhood. Stop by the store when we're open again on Wednesday or later, and I'll get with some prizes.
That's awesome. So John's luck ran out. He didn't get anything there to get you guys the bonus, but
had some close calls though. It was a close call for him on the first wheel too. He was like almost one there.
Very, very close. Don't forget to stop by our website to check out the flight and aerial document that Shahan put together. It covers a lot of stuff. Very, very informative.
Oh, Ishmael has a request that he wants to make.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Make your request.
Let's
Suspense.
see. Yeah, I know,
Okay.
right? We're all holding our breath now.
Yep.
No pressure, Ishmael, but I'm kind of going blue
Yeah.
here.
I guess we could keep talking while he's putting out his
Sure,
request.
let's keep talking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
there it is.
Oh, there we
Jeff
go.
sing the Kraken Packs in the car theme song.
All right.
You
Oh,
want that
yeah.
one, or do you want the 12 Days of Christmas one? Because I've been doing
No,
the 12
that's
Days
the
of
one he asked
Christmas
for.
recently.
He asked for that one.
Oh, I got to remember all the words for it now.
Well, maybe if you grab a
Oh,
guitar,
come
that'll
on.
help
Let's
remind
get it
you.
on. Open some Digimon. Now get your game on. This isn't Pokemon. Collectors in cars, Kraken Packs has got it going on.
There you go.
Something like that.
Nice. Nice.
That's over a year old now. I can't remember all those words. Oh, come on. Let's get it on. Oh, no, I'm done. That's it. I lost it.
It's a little more suggestive than I realized. I've never really caught that before. Jeff's gonna need a PG-13 rating with that theme
Oh,
song.
my God. Jason, I didn't think of it that way either. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Right?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
What I've been saying this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put some beeps in there. Janice, where were you with the beeping button? You have that magic button, the 5-second delay.
Why didn't you cut the hard line?
Just unplug the computer. It works. It works.
All right. Well, let's give our special guest the chance to have the final
Sure.
word, and then we'll roll the credits. We'll mute our mics while we roll the credits, and then after the video, after the stream's done, we'll say our private goodbyes to Shahan and Jeff off camera.
Yes, for sure.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone who came and watched the stream today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I think you're always supposed to say that as part of a YouTube video. We don't do it on our Chronoca's channel because we're bad at it. But yeah, please, test out these new changes to Aerial and Flight. Let us know what you think. We hope, fingers crossed, that you're gonna love them as much as we do. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Awesome. Mute your mics and say goodnight. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good night.